Start your project with cutting the two chassis patterns apart. Then proceed to cut out the individual Jet Toy chassis pattern along the solid outer lines until you end up with two patterns. Next, take one chassis pattern and cut the cut lines at the corners. Be careful that you don't cut too far. Now use a ballpoint pen to draw a very heavy, deep line over each of the dotted fold lines. Press the pen hard back and forth to score the paper to make it easier to fold. Fold down the four sidewalls on the scored lines. Make sure that the axle lines are showing on the outside of the chassis. Use small pieces of masking tape to carefully attach all the flaps inside the chassis. Flip the chassis over and place two strips of masking tape along the sides of the bottom of the chassis. Cut two axle bearings from a drinking straw. Each bearing should be exactly 7 centimeters long. Make sure that the cut edges are straight and not jagged. Line up an axle bearing with one of the axle lines. Center the bearing so the same amount extends on each side of the chassis. Now tape the axle bearing in place. Put the tape over the tape already on the chassis. Do the same for the front and back straw bearings. Carefully push an axle stick into the hub of one wheel, and then insert the stick into the axle bearing. Carefully push a wheel onto the other end of the axle. Repeat this procedure to make the other wheel assembly. Now that the chassis is assembled, create a test ramp to test how the chassis rolls. Stack up books to a height of approximately 22 centimeters. Tape the narrow end of a 30 centimeter wide by 45 centimeter long piece of heavy cardboard or mounting board to the top of each stack. The ramp should form approximately a 30-degree angle with the floor. Mark a starting line approximately 15 centimeters from the top of the ramp. Leave a clear, flat area about 2 meters long where chassis can roll after they leave the ramp. The goal of this activity is to build a chassis that rolls straight and smoothly. If chassis doesn't roll smoothly or straight, make adjustments and retest. Successful construction of this chassis is the first step toward building a great jet toy. Using the ramp is a convenient way of testing and troubleshooting problems with the chassis. There are several ways to mount the balloon motor. One way is to build a small platform from poster board. It should be at least as high as the rear chassis wall. The nozzle could then be taped to this platform. Stretch the balloon by hand to make them easier to inflate. Insert about 1 inch of the nozzle into the balloon and secure it tightly with a rubber band. In both cases, it is helpful to put a layer of masking tape over the area where the nozzle will be taped, since the students may need to adjust the position of the balloon motor. This makes it easy to tape and retape the nozzle without damaging the poster board chassis.